melt is when I'm ocean waves.
Well, tonight on Nova Legends podcast, I have Hayfield Coach Carlos Poindexter, whose Hawks have just qualified for the state semifinals, the Final Four. Coach, thanks for joining me. Congratulations.
Hey man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, of course, always. So, well, look, it's good news. You guys got by Madison. I wasn't able to make it because, as all, the scheduling glitch, all the games were at the same time. So
Right.
yeah. So what was the Madison game like? Was it you hadn't played Madison this year? I think it's been a few years since you played them. It's always tough to visualize a team as you actually play them. So did the game go how you visualize the game?
In certain instances, yes. In others, I didn't account for people getting in foul trouble, and I didn't account for having to use my bench as much as I had to in the second half. But besides that, yeah, I mean, it was a good game, a good hard fought game. Both sides played extremely hard. People tried to, both sides we both tried to execute to the best of our ability. Sometimes shots go in, sometimes they didn't. 20 Kaminsky was actually like banged up a little bit, so he wasn't at his best, which was in our favor. So, I'm not gonna complain about that.
Well, one of my favorite players, I've been talking about him for a few years, as you know, is Miles Franklin. I just think we've started to scratch the surface on where he's going to go. I think he's going to be a tremendous talent. How did Miles play? And what do you think about Miles Franklin?
Yeah, so that was my first time seeing him live. Like, I saw him last year one time when he played for Nova Cavs AAU, but it's a little different scenario. But it's my first time seeing him this year in person, and I like what I saw from him. I mean, he competes, and him and DJ got the barking versus each other a little bit. It was good to see that competitive nature. But yeah, he scored 17, so he had a good day. He had a good night.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned foul trouble earlier. Who got in foul trouble for you?
Greg, DJ, and Donnie.
Right. How early was the foul trouble? Right in the first quarter.
Well, Donnie had got 2 fouls in the first quarter, so he had to sit the whole second quarter.
Right.
And then DJ and Greg pretty much was like second quarter, third quarter is where they got their foul trouble.
Yeah. Were they able to handle your pressure? Because they graduated Bo Kublank from last year, who was kind of a ball dominant type player, always had the ball. And I saw Madison in the opener against Marshall, and I wondered whether they'd be able to replace Bo. And when I saw them against Marshall in the regional semifinal, it was clear their guards had come through, and they were a completely different team from early in the season. Were they able to handle the Hayfield pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part they did. 21 did a pretty good job, solid. And then number 2 came off the bench. He only had like 1 turnover, but besides that, I think two was solid handling the basketball. And Franklin handled about. He was bringing up versatile pressure as well. So, yeah. I mean, of course they had some turnovers, but for the most part they did a great job because it was a 10-point game. So, and it was actually they cut it all the way to 6. So it was a good game. It was a very good game. But they did good though. I mean, they did good. We played well for what we had. So it was a good game. Yeah.
Were you ever nervous in the game? Was there ever a point where you were worried about advancing, or did you always feel like things are pretty much under control for Hayfield?
No, I wasn't concerned. I would say like when they cut it to 6 and I had to call timeout, just had to regroup them. But we had 5 seniors, right? So somebody wasn't playing well, someone else picked it up. Someone else picked up the pieces. So John Wilk came through in the fourth quarter and hit a timely 3. Braylon Cage hit a timely 3. And DJ made some tough plays down the stretch as well. And then so it was good, man. I love that we always have somebody different stepping up for us throughout a game.
So you've had 2 relatively close games in a row after. I mean, you've had a whole bunch of blowouts in a row since kind of the holiday season where you had a couple. I think in January you had a couple of showcases where the games were close. But was it nice to play 2 close games in a row to get you ready for the semis and the finals?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always, it's always good to get tested and see how your team is going to respond. And I felt like we responded in a great way. Um, so yeah, it's always good.
Yeah.
And I
So
felt like,
go
go ahead.
No, you first.
No, I was going to tell you, like Donnie was flat out. I mean, he had couldn't play the whole second quarter. In the third quarter, he came out and scored I think 9 straight points in the third quarter to make his presence known. And like that's when we kind of like separated ourselves a little bit, gave us some space, and then the game played out the way it played out.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that you got a chance to play a lot more players than normal. Sometimes you'll need those players down the stretch. So let's go to Monday's game. Have they got a time for the game on Monday yet? Have they a time and a place?
I believe it's at 7 p.m. and it's definitely at Westfield.
Okay, 7 p.m. Westfield. So did you get a chance to watch the South Lakes Edison game yet?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, and what were your thoughts? To me, coming into the game, it was an intriguing matchup because Edison is as talented a team as you'll ever see. I mean, they have 7 players that are at least Division III players. They have a couple guys I think are Division I prospects. I'm not sure they'll ever play at that level, but they have a very high talent level. And South Lakes is very hard to judge because they're very young, and the players, they have grown so much since I saw them against Battlefield in December. It is a completely different team now than it was 2 months ago. So anyway, what did you think about the game?
So I've been trying to reach out to Trey to get his thoughts on the game, but we haven't got a chance to link up. But from what I saw though, I felt like Edison didn't come to play. It looked like that to me, and it just looked like they wasn't playing like how they've been playing, at least versus us. Like I didn't see the execution that they normally do. I didn't see, they wasn't hitting shots like how they've normally hit shots, like at least versus us. And I just didn't see the competitive nature that they displayed versus us when they played versus South Lakes.
Yeah, so I had talked Edison up before the game. I told people that I thought South Lakes is the most likely winner. I just felt they had more of a little grit to them than Edison. But I told people Edison is very talented. You're going to be surprised what you see. And I think a lot of people that I told that were a little disappointed in that, like you said, they really didn't show all the qualities that they have because they have a very talented team.
Right. And but you got to give South Lakes a ton of credit for coming in that game, and there was no back down. They were switching everything. They was front Nader, like they was making those entry passes very hard. And they competed. So you gotta give South Lakes a ton of credit. I felt like South Lakes was a little bit more prepared. Like they scouted out Edison sets very well, so cause they knew everything that was coming at them. And then Jordan Scott was pretty tough.
Well, before we get to Jordan Scott, let's give Edison and Trey Ford credit. They had a great year. Seniors had a great career. I enjoyed watching those teams play. That was a great team, and it bodes well for their future. But yeah,
and 1,000%. Trey Ford did an amazing job this year in his first year coaching. To go what they won 20 games, 20 games in his first year. Gave us everything that we wanted for 4 games. And we're one of the better teams in the state. So for them to compete the way that they did versus us for 4 games, got to tip their hat, and just hopefully they can keep it going in the years to come.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, you said it perfectly, Coach. Now we're talking about Jordan Scott. Jordan Scott's parents, of course, Jerome Scott, her father was he was an innovator. I mean, people used to imitate his crossover dribble back in the late '80s. Here, he was a great player. He played with Grant Hill. Grant was 2 years younger, maybe 2 years younger than Jerome, maybe 3 years younger than Jerome. But they played together. Jerome played at University of Miami back when Miami was in the Big East. Jordan's mother was Christy Winters, who's in the University of Maryland Hall of Fame, also in the South Lakes Hall of Fame. Went in with Grant Hill. They won a state championship she won a state championship for South Lakes. She does media work. Obviously, she's great at what she does. Great player. Anyway, Jordan he's really come a long way. Last year he was a kind of instant offense off the bench, kind of a 6'5" guy that would come in with a senior laden team and give them some quick points off the bench. This year he's really developed. He can go off either leg in traffic quickly. He can shoot with either hand in traffic. You can't let him shoot. He's unselfish. He doesn't demand the ball. I hate to put people too much pressure on this kid, but I actually think he's further along than Grant was at the same time in their career. I think the future is so bright for this kid. But what did you think about Jordan?
Yeah, so I've seen him, and two of his probably better games was the 29 points versus Madison, and then I think he had 25 or 26 versus Edison last night. So I've gotten to see him when he's been at his best, and he looked good. He looked like you said, from last year to this year, it's been a huge progress in his development in his game, and and that's you want to see that. From your freshman year, just coming in off the bench, just being a 3-point shooter. Now you're able to put the ball on the floor. You can get to your spots off the dribble. You got a nice pull-up game. And man, one thing that he does well, he has what we call educated feet. Like the way that he moves and how he's able to like maneuver, side steps, all those different things that he had. Like he has, like whoever's trained him up has done a great job, because for him to be a sophomore, he's able to do things a lot of kids can't do as seniors right now. So big ups to Jordan Scott. He's region player of the year for a reason, and I got a chance to see it up close in person the last two times, and then we about to go toe to toe on Monday.
Yeah, we're gonna have the Occoquan Region Player of the Year, DJ Holloway, and the Northern Region Player of the Year, Jordan Scott, in the same game. It's gonna be great. They both come a long way. And it's great to see players develop and work hard and get to where they belong. But what about the rest of the team? I mean, you played South Lakes last year in the same round, the state semifinals.
Yep, state semis.
Close game early. They missed some opportunities early. They missed some layups early, and then you just destroyed them in the second half. They're a different team this year. They have more quickness than they had last year. Probably not as balanced this year as they are last year, but they're a very dangerous team. So what did you think about Jordan's teammates?
Yeah, so I really like the Kennedy kid, number five.
Yeah,
I really like him. In watching film, you could tell, like, I couldn't tell in the Madison game, it was kind of hard to tell. You could tell that he can guard, and he's very feisty. He gets after it defensively, but I couldn't really tell how he plays with the basketball when other people are guarding him, like full court and different things of that nature. And he's been able to hold his own, at least versus Edison. And I feel like 23 for Edison is a pretty good on-ball defender. And he was going, he was going by him like it was not like he wasn't even guarding him. So that raised my eyebrows. And then the Vito kid, I think Vito's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Man, he defends. I know the Kennedy kid got Player of the Year for being Defensive Player of the Year. But on ball defense, Vito, man, he's tough. I like him. I don't know how good he can score it, but on the defensive side, I see why they hold opponents to what they do, and I see why they win in the fashion that they win, because you got two guards up front who can really, really guard the ball as well as they do. So and then you got Jordan, you got Billings, who I feel like Billings played well in the Edison game too, because he was able to bring Nader out onto the perimeter, and he was getting by him easy. Because he scored about 6-8 points just off drive-bys, and then he hit a three. He hit a three as well. So they solid, man. Real solid team. Number 4, I think number 4 comes off the bench. He's like a backup guard or whatever. He can shoot it. He hit a timely 3 in the Madison game, and then hit a timely 3 in the Edison game as well. And number 3, I haven't seen a lot from him, but I guess he's just one of the glue guys that they have on their team. I got to watch more film.
I think it's James Shrunk. James.
Yeah, okay. Is he a senior?
I think he's a junior also. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think they only had 2 seniors, and they were both role players.
Number 50 was a senior. He a big guy, 6'5", got off the bench. Yeah.
50 was yesterday was the first time I've seen 50 play.
Had a good game yesterday.
He was in there. He was banging. He was doing. He did an excellent job off the bench. Him and number 10 did a good job off the bench as well. And like I said, number 3.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
it's
number 4 was off the bench. Number 3 started.
no, exactly. I think you're right. To me, Hayfield is a tremendous, terrific team. You know what you get. South Lakes is interesting because it's more of a moving target. I still don't know exactly what their personality is, what they can do. They have a lot of talent and they're going to play well. It's interesting because you have a team that you kind of know what you get. And South Lakes is kind of a wild card. And the last month or two, I think they've only lost one game, and most of the games have been blowouts. So it's actually going to be a very intriguing match. I hope everyone comes out. It's going to be Monday again, 7 p.m. in Westfield. Let's get a huge crowd. Let's sell it out. Finally have
I hope it does.
Yeah, I don't know if the girls aren't playing. The girls are playing somewhere else, I guess.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm sure they would not let us watch 2 games. They don't. There's something against the rules of us sitting there enjoying 2 games and everything. Yesterday after the game at South Lakes, no one had anywhere to go. We watched one game and we wanted to enjoy each other's company. Everybody, all the coaches were there, so we all just kind of stood around and talked on the floor because there was no other games to watch. But before we go, let's talk about around the state. Did you see any other results around the state? I know Patriot beat Lansdowne. I know that Forest Park lost big to Oscar Smith. What were some of your thoughts about the other games that went on around the state?
So my phone had died, so I didn't even get to see anything about the other 2 games until the next morning. And when I woke up, I checked and I saw that Patriot took care of business. Talked to Sherman probably 3 or 4 hours ago. So we talked about the game, and he told me how things went. He said that his team was firing on all cylinders on the defensive side. They was struggling a little bit on the offensive side, but when you guard, it doesn't matter how you shoot because you're going to get stops and you're going to be able to get out and play in transition. So they did their job on that front. And then I've seen Oscar Smith play one time, and that was back in December. I haven't seen him play yet, but I hear great things about him. They got 2 big kids, and they got some guards that can play a little bit. So that's going to be a good game as well. The Patriot and Oscar Smith game is going to be big, and I'll be especially if we win, I'm really going to be focusing on that game for the next couple of days. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm just really worried about us making sure that we take care of business. Make sure that we stay, one of my kids, Jaleel Jackson, sprained his wrist, throughout that week of practice. So he didn't even play in the game versus Madison. So hopefully he'll be able to play on Monday. If not, it's next man up. We're going to use Braden Cage and Parker Cage to play his minutes, and hopefully we get good minutes out of them.
Jackson is a strong left-handed kid that transferred from Potomac Private. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. He's a very, very good player. He's only a junior, right, Coach?
Yeah, he's a junior.
Yeah, well, that's great because you're going to want to see how these underclassmen play against South Lakes because I got a feeling you're going to see a lot of South Lakes next year because South Lakes.
Yeah, for 1,000%.
I know they only have.
They're not
seniors.
going nowhere. They're not going nowhere.
No, they only have 2 seniors, and again, one of the seniors I can't think of his name, but he number 50 off the bench, post player, solid, had a really good game against Nadir, and so obviously it's going to be interesting to see how the young players play. Well, Coach, this is great. Thanks for doing this. I'm getting ready to
real quick. What did you think about the South Lakes and Edison game? Were you surprised at the outcome or the 13-point victory, 14-point victory?
I was just surprised that South Lakes was never really threatened. I felt like the whole game when I watched, the outcome was never in doubt, and that surprised. I mean, it was still an intriguing game. There was great action. Edison was still able to do some great things. Teddy Morgan showed his quality. I thought the point guard Garza.
Yeah, Garcia.
He had a good game. Kirk came off the bench and played well. I mean, the big guy played well for Nadir.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played well. I mean, you could tell Edison had quality, but the game was never in doubt. I mean, they opened up 8-10 early, and they never really were in doubt. So I was surprised at that. But the game was still interesting. I thought the officials, Marvin Dawkins, shout out to Marvin. Marvin might be 70. I don't want to call him out here. Doing a regionals quarterfinal game, called a tremendous game. I mean, they had a nice game. The The other Dave McAndrew, I forgot the third guy, called a nice game. I was happy for them, and Edison just really never could get over the hump.
Yeah, I was. I'm gonna be honest. I was surprised that the game went the way that it went, though. I'm surprised by that. I'm not totally surprised by the outcome, but I'm surprised that South Lakes basically, I don't want to say dominated, but they held their own and controlled everything about the game.
Yeah.
So I was surprised by that.
Yeah, if you look at top seven, I would put Edison's top seven next to any top seven I've seen for the last 20 years in terms of height, athleticism, outside shooting. They can play. So
Right.
those boys can play, but I still think Trey only had one season with them. I think they may be a season away from being where they need to go. But I was surprised at how it wasn't easy because Edison, they made their plays and it was an intriguing game. But the game was never in doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
It was never in doubt. I mean, anyone who was there, we knew the South Lakes was going to win the whole game. So I don't know what that says. I definitely think, from your point of view, would you rather play a team Edison for the fifth time or South Lakes for the first time as a coach?
I would rather play South Lakes for the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't matter who we have played because there's playoffs, but I definitely really rather play South Lakes just to give us a different team because, us and Edison, we know each other so much. We know everything about each other, so I would definitely rather play a South Lakes team compared to playing versus Edison versus 5 times. Just like South Lakes probably would rather play us than play Madison for a 5th time because you don't want to play each other 5 times because anything can go.
I don't think anybody wants to play Hayfield. I think so. South Lakes, I think they beat Madison like the last 2 years. They beat them like 6-7 times by 30, like a 25-point average. I mean, when you look at the Hayfield team, I'm sure Mike is going to lose some hair. I'm sure Mike is going to lose some sleep this. I'm sure Mike is going to lose some sleep this weekend. So,
yeah, me and Mike we talked a couple of times this morning and stuff. So we're looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to a great game. Me and Mike have been cool for years. And I'm glad to see that he's having as much success that he's having as a head coach now. And I just hope we come on the winning side of this. But shout out to Mike Dez and everything that he's been doing for the program.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think the two best teams. We got the best Northern District, Northern Region team, the best Occoquan Region team. This is great. Come on out for folks that are listening. We're going to be at the backyard in Chantilly for pregame at 5:30. Come out, buy us a drink if you want. But come support these great teams. Let's pack the place, sell it out, and let's have a great night. It's the state semifinals. The final is going to be in Richmond, so it's going to be a trip. This is local, so come out and support these two great teams.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
let's do it.
All right, Coach. Thanks for doing this, and I will see you. I will see you on Monday.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one.
Thanks, Coach.
Right.
Yep, take care.